Hello lovely YouTube family, welcome back to Nano 10s. In today's video, we are going to talk about China builds world's largest dam 10-year engineering project. But before we start, I would want you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. The project. China recently announced its plan to build the world's biggest hydroelectric dam on the Yarlung-Tsangpo River in the Tibetan Autonomous Region, or TAR. China's commitment is to reduce the use of fossil fuels and become carbon neutral by 2060. The plan is to build 11 hydropower stations on the river. These will generate 60 gigawatts of power, producing 3 times more hydroelectric power than China's current largest dam, the Three Gorges. That project forced the relocation of more than 1.4 million people, one of the downsides of very large dam projects. The Yarlung-Tsangpo originates from melting glaciers and mountain springs. The river flows down the Himalayan watershed and supplies drinking water to an estimated 1.8 billion people in China, India, and Bhutan. At one point, the river descends approximately 2,700 meters through the Yarlung-Tsangpo, creating a huge gorge more than twice as deep as the Grand Canyon in the United States. This new mega dam project is receiving criticism from environmentalists, as well as from Tibetan rights groups. Some residents of Midog County face the risk of relocation. In addition, experts hold fear on the impact of the changed river flow. While this project in the Yarlung-Tsangpo is the largest, it is not the only dam project along the river. Various small and medium-sized dams have already been built. It is noted that China's 11 Mekong dams have disrupted fish life, and the flow sediment has contributed directly to the collapse of riverbanks and the destruction of communities, a downside to be weighed against the benefits of a dam. The Yarlung-Tsangpo River flows from Tibet into India's Arunachal Pradesh state and down through to Assam to Bangladesh. Indian authorities are concerned that the Chinese project could trigger flash floods and create water scarcity. Now India is considering building a 10-gigawatt dam in Arunachal Pradesh to mitigate the adverse impact of the Chinese Yarlung-Tsangpo dam project. Potentials costs. This is an expensive endeavor, not only in terms of construction, but because dams, especially on this scale, tend to have a serious impact on local ecosystems and communities, impacts that cost much to mitigate. The Tibetan Plateau is of huge importance for many major rivers and is one of the most significant ecosystems on the planet. The region of Yarlung-Tsangpo Gorge is still very young geologically and is still in active formation. Therefore, the area is affected by many geological stresses and seismic activities, and landslides are relatively common. In the 1950s, an earthquake of 8.0 magnitude shook the area, causing many landslides, which resulted in flooding on parts of the region downstream. In early 2000, another large landslide in Yeong caused the formation of a 4 billion cubic meter lake barrier. Shortly later, the barrier failed, resulting in floods that affected millions of people. As average temperatures have been rising, the Himalayan glaciers and snowlines have been retreating at an alarming rate. These glaciers are the main source of fresh water for many rivers, including the Yarlung-Tsangpo, that uses the mountain range as a source. The gorge ecosystem could also be in trouble if the dams are built. The trees along the gorge are considered overmature, and the local peoples use slash and burn as agricultural farming methods, destroying large areas of trees to create farmland and accelerating soil erosion in the process. In turn, the area's wildlife is fast becoming endangered and faces extinction. The extra pressure of a large dam will undoubtedly prove too much for these already fragile ecosystems. The region in question is also of large geological importance. The 2.5 million square kilometers Tibetan Plateau is rich in resources and also borders many nations. The watershed of the Himalayas provides drinking water to close to 2 billion people. Any disturbance in this area can have serious consequences for those who rely on this water to survive. History and controversy. First discussed in the 1920s by Chinese Nationalist Party leaders, the idea for the Three Gorges Dam was given new impetus in 1953 when Chinese leader Mao Zedong ordered feasibility studies of a number of sites. Detailed planning for the project began in 1955. Its proponents insisted it would control disastrous flooding along the Yangtze, facilitate inland trade, and provide much-needed power for central China. But the dam was not without its detractors. Criticisms of the Three Gorges project began as soon as the plans were proposed, and continued through its construction. Key problems included the danger of dam collapse, the displacement of some 1.3 million people. Critics insisted the figure was actually 1.9 million, living in more than 1,500 cities, towns, and villages along the river, and the destruction of magnificent scenery and countless rare architectural and archaeological sites. There were also fears, some of which were borne out, that human and industrial waste from cities would pollute the reservoir, and even that the huge amount of water impounded in the reservoir could trigger earthquakes and landslides. Some Chinese and foreign engineers argued that a number of smaller and far cheaper and less problematic dams on the Yangtze tributaries could generate as much power as the Three Gorges Dam and control flooding equally well. Construction of those dams, they maintained, would enable the government to meet its main priorities without the risks. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing videos from us.